Hey guys, it's Seja, and me and my wife were just taking some time to drive up into the mountains and kind of rejuvenate ourselves out here along the river and in some old growth forest. And we stumbled upon this medicinal plant, and that I felt kind of reminded me of a story that I felt like sharing with all of you. And this plant's called Pipsissewa. The Latin name is Chimaphila umbellata. And this is a relatively newer plant for me over the last few years. And it kind of brings up this story that I felt called to share with you. And I'm going to humble myself a little bit and share a story with you where I made a mistake as an herbalist. And it's kind of the theme for this video is being okay with making mistakes, and as an herbalist you're going to make mistakes, and that those are profound breakthroughs in your journey on the plant path and in your learning process. And you know, it's kind of like life, you know, I feel like those times in our lives where we're challenged the most, oftentimes, even though they're really hard and difficult, that it's those challenging times that oftentimes are the most fruitful. That's when we're learning the most, that life is teaching us something. And so I had a client a few years ago that had a urinary tract infection, and she was kind of complaining about the discomfort associated with that, a sensation of fullness, and kind of feeling like she had to pee all the time that wasn't relieved through the act of urination, and basically had a sensation of kind of burning, stinging sensation. There was a little bit of blood in the urine, and that basically indicates that there is heat, the heat excitation tissue state, right? That the mucous membranes in her urinary tract were irritable, inflamed. There's a little bit of bleeding, and just that burning sensation, a pretty clear indicator of heat in the tissues. And you know, this kind of leads to an important teaching around the importance of understanding the specific state of the tissues, the energetic state of the tissues, and the energetics of the herbs. And this gets us beyond what I call cookie cutter herbalism, or use this for that herbalism, where you just say, oh, you have this symptom, right, just use this herb for that symptom, which ultimately is an allopathic approach to using plants. And ultimately our goal as herbalists, if you're watching this video, you've been following my work, you probably would rather not be an allopathic herbalist, but want to be a holistic herbalist, right? And so this dynamic of the specific state of the tissue and the energetics of the herb is the root of a truly holistic herbal practice. So anyways, continuing on with the story here, I made a recommendation for her where in the moment I didn't have a whole lot available, but what I did have was some of this plant, Chimaphila umbellata, the Pipsissewa, and had given her a bottle of it, and I made a request for her to also be drinking some marshmallow tea to kind of soothe out the irritation in the mucous membranes. Well, she hadn't done the marshmallow tea in the amounts that I had suggested, and even after just a couple doses of the Pipsissewa, her symptoms got radically more agitated. The burning sensation increased, the irritation in the tissues increased, the sensation of fullness increased. Now, sometimes, like, people in the natural products industry or even some herbalists will say, oh no, that's good, that's you know, it's pushing it out, right? Or that it's, you know, it's just moving the energy, it's going to get worse before it feels better. Or, oh no, this is a healing crisis, which is ultimately a misuse of that term, healing crisis. And is what we see there basically is an aggravation. We're seeing that the plant was incongruent with the specific state of the tissue, and therefore is aggravating the tissue state. And what we see with the Pipsissewa, and I hadn't realized this with the Pipsissewa at that time, that I took some of it and was like, whoa, like this is a pungent, spicy, peppery, stimulating remedy. And she's already overstimulated. There's already a lot of heat. We need more cooling, soothing, demulcent, probably bitter, relaxant remedies. Something like kava kava would have been great there. The marshmallow, really good. Maybe a little bit of uva ursi would have been nice. So some different remedies would have been much more applicable there, something that was more cooling and not quite as pungent and stimulating as the Pipsissewa. So after I realized that Pipsissewa was not the right remedy, right, I obviously suggested for her to stop taking it, and it kind of made me re-look at the situation and kind of think through more holistically what was going on and what would be more of an appropriate remedy. And what was interesting is during this time, this person was also going through a breakup with her boyfriend at the time, and was kind of going through a lot of relationship shifting. Now, when we look at the energetics and kind of the esoteric properties of the kidneys and the urinary tract, we see it's related to the water element. We see that it's related to Venus, which rules the kidneys and urinary tract. Also the planet associated with love and relationship. And also correlates to Svadhisthana chakra, which is the second chakra, which is also the water element and all about our relationships, kidneys, urinary tract, etc. So kind of looking at the chain of correspondence there opened up my eyes to seeing more of what was going on and kind of the wholeness of her body, her mind, her spirit, and got me thinking and kind of feeling into what would have been more of an appropriate remedy. And from there I looked into, and kind of cleavers popped up. This is a remedy I talk about a lot. I love cleavers. I work with cleavers quite a bit, and because it matches, and this is a principle we see in holistic herbalism, that certain plants will match kind of the whole psychological, energetic, spiritual, and physiological pattern in the person, like the essential pattern in the person that's affecting their spirit, their mind, their emotions, and their body, that there's a plant, that the essence of that plant targets that same essence in the person that's behind what's going on. And so cleavers was a much more appropriate remedy. It's much more cooling, much more relaxing. It's more of a relaxant diuretic, where her tissues were hot and tense, but very cooling, very relaxing. She had some lymphatic swelling too. The inguinal lymph nodes were a little swollen, and cleavers is a great lymphatic decongestant, a lymphagogue. So it kind of hit multiple levels of the physical picture, matched energetically, had all the herbal actions that we wanted, but then it also hit this other side of the energetic picture, right? The spiritual side of it, where she was going through this really intense breakup, and it was very emotional, and was going through a lot of changes in her life of letting go, like learning to let go and to kind of detangle herself out of that relationship. And so this is really the pattern of cleavers, that if any one of you have seen and cleavers in the wild, it sticks to everything, kind of gets tangled up and kind of clings on to things. And so I always say it's this remedy that helps us to learn how to let go, kind of this emotional level. It's a very water element plant, works on the kidneys and the lymph, and it's a diuretic. It's cooling, soothing, etc. And it's also ruled by Venus. So it's ruled by the water element, it's ruled by Venus, and just matches the whole architecture, energetic architecture of what was going on with this person at that time. So we administered cleavers, and very quickly, very rapidly, within the next 24 hours, the symptoms radically reduced. She felt a lot better. Within the week, everything was clearing up, and that transition out of that relationship was much more smooth. She was able to kind of detach herself from the situation, like uncling from the situation, so to speak, and see the bigger picture, see the lessons that were being presented to her, that life was trying to teach her. And that's the beautiful thing about, the evolutionary model of plant medicine, is that life is trying to teach us. Life is always trying to teach us something. It's just a matter of whether we have the eyes and the ears and the heart to see it and hear it and feel it and integrate it and embody it. And these, nature creates these beautiful, wonderful, powerful plant medicines that can help us in that journey. They can help us to see that truth and see what life is trying to teach us in the way that they heal us not just in our body, but in our mind and our emotional layers and our spirit too. So, so I just wanted to mention that side of it too, and how it's so critical to look beyond the symptom, right? To look beyond the symptom, and that too many people, I think, in our modern world are approaching herbal medicine in kind of a drug-like context, and losing the therapeutic, holistic therapeutic model that really looks at the wholeness of the person and the wholeness of the plant, and seeing how they're going to interact. And that really is the root of holistic herbalism. And just to let you guys know too, I'm putting together a 5-week free video course called the Holistic Herbal Blueprint that I'm going to be sending out here coming up really soon. If you're not on my email list, head over to evolutionaryherbalism.com, plug your name and email in, and you can get access to that 5-week training program for free. I'm really excited about it. I'm really passionate about this topic of holistic herbalism, and really learning how to condition our minds and our perception to see and think holistically, which is so critical for a truly effective herbal practice. So I just wanted to share that story with you, because ever since then, I know that Pipsissewa is a pungent warming remedy, and it anchored that plant into my mind and into my heart, and now I understand how to use that in much more of a holistic way, and just how it made me a better herbalist, right? And so the takeaway here is be okay with making mistakes, that you're gonna make mistakes. And I always say each plant, each person is a chapter in the book of your experiential learning as an herbalist, right? And I think it's important for us as herbalists to not always be so reliant on book knowledge, but to take our experience. And that really is, in my opinion, the most fruitful type of education that we can get in regards to plant medicine. So just felt inspired to share that little story with you guys about Pipsissewa. So once again, everybody, I'm Sage Popham. Thanks so much for checking out this video. If you're watching this anywhere but the blog, head over to evolutionaryherbalism.com. Got tons of free videos on there, free training series, and lots of good stuff. And so thanks so much for watching this video. Feel free to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and have a friend or a family member or someone in your community that really loves plant medicine and herbs and herbalism. Hit that share button and spread the plant love to the people you know and love. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. So take care and be well.